The morning on WCCS. It's 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Good morning, and thanks for being with us here today on this Friday morning, Friday, September the 26th. So we get to the last Friday of the month of September, and obviously as we move into October, things will change. Our visit this morning with Bob Pollock, presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm, best personal injury lawyer, 3 years in a row with the best of Indiana County contest. You can visit them online at marcusandmack.com. I got to remember, it's 4 years in a row now. I have to do better at crossing out that 3 and writing in the 4. There.
Time's marching on.
It is. It's 4 years in a row for our good friends at Marcus & Mack. All right, so good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today. So when we get to the end of September and we move on into October, I'm sure there are things from a gardening, a lawn, a shrubbery type of standpoint, maybe even flowers like roses, rose bushes and things like that, that we need to be thinking about doing. So let's go over each of those areas. If we're on the lawn today, and we're entering into the fall after a very, very, very dry couple of months. Is there really much that we can do with our lawn to prepare it any further for the coming dormant season? Because it's been dormant for a while.
Yeah, yes. And it will be coming out of dormancy with the rainfall that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
It'll start to green up again and be active. And you'll find out now whether it was really dormant or whether it died out in areas or spots. And so now that we've had some moisture, I noticed last night there was some grass that had been seeded like 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it was still dry from them doing the gas line work in town here.
And it hadn't done anything.
It was just brown dead spots. Well, all of a sudden, just this week, we've had enough moisture to activate that seed. Fortunately, it was still there,
Mm-hmm.
And it started to grow. But now's the time really anyway, where if you need to do those repairs, need to seed, reseed, spot, treat, and now's the time to get that done.
Okay.
And now that we've got a little bit of moisture in the ground, that will help to get things germinated and get it up and moving.
So where you have had patches of just dead stuff that's just laying there brown and it's not going to revive, in order to plant there, we don't just toss seed on top of that dead stuff, do we? Do we need to get rid of that dead stuff? Do we need to work the soil a little bit?
Sometimes you can just use the dead stuff as mulch almost.
It's going to be
just as organic matter. And if take a hard rake, if you have a little rototiller, something to loosen up the soil, just to scratch it. Sometimes you need to add a little bit of soil to it. Okay. So if you have some extra soil, because sometimes it'll end up, being depressed a little bit. But just loosening that soil up is enough then when you seed it, that there's enough loose soil there that the seed can get better contact with the soil versus just laying on top of a crust almost.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a more fine textured dead material that's there, that's okay. Just kind of stir things up and mix that into the soil, and then you've got a seed bed.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything fancy.
So that's
because sometimes that can be hard from as dry as it was.
Yeah.
It can be hard enough that it'll make it hard for that seed to be able to germinate it.
Mm-hmm.
The seeds, they're tiny, but they still have to come in contact with soil and be able to gain enough moisture to germinate and start to grow.
Okay, so that's the lawn. Let's get into the garden here this morning. It's coming up on the beginning of October. What do I need to do there with stuff that I've cleared out and with what I want to do? I'm assuming it's time to put in cover crop if you're going to be planting cover crop. And there are a lot of people I know that in the wintertime, they'll cover the entire garden with black plastic and leave it on there all the way through the winter.
Right, so various methods for prepping for fall and winter. Weeds,
Yeah,
usually
I've heard
usually
of them.
usually by this time of year, as the harvest winds down and plants die back and sometimes you walk away, but yet the weeds still grow.
They don't.
Weeds in general, and same thing within the yard too. Things may have been pretty stagnant there for a while, but just this rainfall will release. There'll be new seeds germinating, weed seeds especially. There'll be weeds that were just kind of sitting there hanging out, not doing much, that are all of a sudden going to take off. Same thing in garden beds and things. So now's a good time that loosens soil up enough that with the rain that weeds can be easy to pull now, and just kind of get ahead of them, because we're getting to the time where they won't put on much more growth, but they are going to make flowers and make seed. So if we can prevent that, that really helps reduce the seed bank and prevent future problems. But in the garden, yes, cover crop. We're really down to the point now where season-wise, rye grain is probably the best and about one of the only ones left that we have time to get seeded and get some growth on it before the season stops.
Okay.
We've kind of missed, if you were going to put in a mixture or a combo where you had some grain plus maybe some legumes, clovers, hairy vetch, there's a variety of different combinations and options, but those really need extra time to germinate and grow to do well, and we've kind of missed that window at this point.
Okay.
So anyhow, rye grain's a good one because it's hardy. That seed will come up, with some moisture in the ground within a week or so. That'll start to germinate and make a cover on there, and that's what we're looking for right now is get something to cover the soil so the soil's not laying bare all winter long.
Okay.
Yes, and if clean things up, get all weeds out of there, plant debris, especially anything that was diseased, clear that out the best you can. Oftentimes those, early blight, septorial leaf spot, those things that get on tomatoes and some other diseases, the spores will, when those leaves die and they start to break down, and it may not look like there's much there, but the spores are still there.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere, and they'll stay there and overwinter in the soil till next year when there's a susceptible crop back in that place again. Yeah. So clearing that out before things really start to break down is what we need to do there.
Okay. People fertilizing in the fall.
Yes.
Yes, that's something to do.
Right. Yeah, especially soil test first. Measure those nutrients out. Fertilizer is not cheap, and prices have been going up. Some of those products are globally sourced. We don't make them all here. We don't mine them all here.
Yeah.
So, every penny counts.
But good old-fashioned manure.
Yes.
You can visit your local
and
farmer
that's
neighbor.
one of the reasons we try to use green manure crops. Like the rye grain, in those options, because that does add nutrients back into the ground, especially organic matter, and then manures also have nutrients in them, and so that's valuable. But when we do need to add fertilizer, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, all those can be added this time of year. They're not going to go anywhere unless the soil picks up and leaves site. So we get a heavy rain, we get erosion, all those nutrients cling to soil particles and around them. And so when we move the soil off site, then we're also moving nutrients. So that's why we want to keep things in place.
Okay.
But soil testing to determine how many pounds of a particular nutrient that we need to add to get things in the optimum range for growth is what we're looking to do. Nitrogen is one that unless we have a crop there, we don't need to add that at this point in time in the garden. Now, if we move out of the vegetable garden and into perennial and beds,
the flower beds,
and shrub and trees, then that's a little bit different picture there. But still, in the vegetable garden, we don't really need to add nitrogen unless we're growing a crop. save that for when we do get ready to plant the crop.
All right.
October also, you might, people that plant garlic, October's the month that get garlic in the ground here. So you might be prepping some soil.
Yeah. Our organic farmer that left us the big, long, comprehensive note last week, she was getting ready to plant some garlic.
That's right. Yeah. So we're almost October. But, yeah, you pretty much have that whole month of October to get that done and planted, and then it will come up yet this fall. You'll get little plants there, might be an inch or two tall. They are hardy. They will overwinter like that, and then they will, pretty much stop growth. You'll continue to get root growth in the fall. The top won't do much, other than germinate and come up. You'll have a plant there that you can see. You'll continue to get some root growth until the temperatures of the soil decline enough in the fall that things stop and they just hang out there over winter till things start to warm up in the spring.
Haven't had our first frost yet. That will come probably in the month of October, and then we'll talk about different things and how that affects different things around our yards and gardens. And we want to talk about trimming back shrubs and all of that stuff. We'll maybe get into that next week.
Yes, we can do that.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. We're just about 2 minutes away from 8 o'clock. Fox News comes your way then, and then we follow that with news from our WCCS newsroom with Josh Whittison.